With the Lions' 36-27 smashing of the Commies on Sunday, Aiden Hutchinson proceeded to put the entire NFL on notice, helping contribute 3 of our 5 team sacks. We also had a nice takeaway that pretty much sealed the deal and broke the back of the Commies late in the second half. So we're going to dive into the defensive analytics of this game here in this video. Now, before we get into it, make sure to drop your socks and grab your, because we're going to get after it, boys. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. It's me, the host of this hat and beard. Go ahead and hit like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. It helps the analytics of the show. So, look, in this video we're going to be discussing the Lions' defensive performance against the Washington Commies. Defense wins championships. We don't necessarily have a championship caliber defense. I'm going to be honest, there's too many holes that we are banking on good performances week to week that we can't necessarily hang our hat on knowing that this guy's going to show up and do his job every single week. You know, we spend a lot of time hoping that Jeff Okudah can be, you know, live up to his third overall selection. We hope that Hutch can have a excellent pass rush, which he did in this game. We hope that Anzalone can hold up in coverage. We hope. You know, we can't just be like, okay, I know that Aaron Donald is going to show up every Sunday and do his job. I know that the Bosa brothers are going to do their job. I know that Von Miller is going to show up and wreak havoc even in his double-digit year career, right? Like, we're getting to that point, but we're not there yet. So although defense wins championships, and it was really nice to see our defense getting after it, we have to remember to temper our expectations. I mean, we were playing the Washington Commies. Carson Wentz has 2 left feet, man. You know, look what Jalen Hurts did to us, right? Also, look what Jalen Hurts did to the Minnesota Vikings. So, I mean, I'd like to say, and we'll get into this in the preview video later on in the week, I'd like to compare apples to apples here. But I'm kind of in this boat of the Minnesota team that we've seen Monday night against the Eagles. I don't think that's the actual Minnesota team that's going to show up to the field most Sundays. You know, there's this overarching joke about, you know, primetime Kirk Cousins and how Kirk Cousins sucks in primetime. Well, that was a primetime game and Kirk Cousins sucked. So imagine Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson and, you know, Dalvin Cook, who is essentially fresh because he hardly touched the rock Monday night. Expect them to be really, really pissed off Sunday when we square off against them. So I'm expecting a bit of a fight. That's down the road in the next video coming out about Friday. We're here to talk about the Lions' performance, you know, against the Commies. So let's just get right into the statistics, guys. There's some things that really jump out at me that are a good thing to discuss. First and foremost, we gave up 21 first downs. That's too many first downs, boys. That means that you're on the field way too long. And looking at it, oh yeah, you were on the field for 32 minutes. 32 minutes, fellas. 21 first downs, 32 minutes. That's no wonder you guys were cramping up. No wonder you were having issues keeping your starters on the field. That's a long time for these. You know, we have a young defense. So Okudah trying to come back. We're keeping him on a pitch count. You've seen him cramping up during the game. Hutch, I think Hutch is cramping. I don't expect that to be an issue moving forward. I honestly think Hutch just got like a little too energetic, a little too hype. You know, he was playing really, really well. And it's hard to keep that adrenaline and that level all game long. I mean, you've seen him in the first half, three sacks. In the second half, he kind of fell off. But 21 first downs, I'd like to see that shaved down a little bit. I mean, because that means you're giving up. Oh, yeah, so looking at the numbers, Washington converted on 7 of 15 third downs. 7 of 13. They converted 15. 7 of 15 third downs. Look, old Detroit defenses, the failure defenses, couldn't get off the field on third down. I know, look, you're just over 50%. I'm not saying that's terrible. You actually made them punt, I think, 5 times. But old Lions defenses, the old regime, the old ways, the bad ways, the dark ages, those defenses couldn't get off the field. Those defenses couldn't make a play. This defense can make plays, and they can get off the field. I'm just being selfish and greedy and want to see it happen more regular.
What the hell is that? What is your motto here?
And you let them convert 1 out of 2 fourth downs. Look, that's more and more in today's NFL. Fourth down conversions are something coaches are going for. I mean, you seen Roll the Dice, Motor City, Dan Campbell, Guns Mahoney there. He tried it in the first quarter. Yeah, it ended up working out that we got the safety out of it. But we're looking now at an NFL that is all about points. Points, 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 points. And it's going to be a lot more chances for your defense is going to have to make stops on fourth down because guys are going for it. They're looking at the analytics of it. They're realizing that it's more beneficial to roll the dice even if it doesn't work out in your favor. I mean, but 1 out of 2, look, 1 out of 2, that's pretty common for a defense to face, especially when you're blowing a team out 22-0 in the first half. You know, you're going to Washington had to pull out the stops. They had to go for it. They had to do something, and they did. And they converted 1 out of 2. So that's kind of a wash. That's a wash stat, if you ask me. That's just a wash stat. We had 5 sacks. Look, 5 sacks. We know the story of the sacks. If you guys watched the game, you've seen what Hutch was able to do. If you watched the game, you've seen what Hutch was able to do. He came out just with his hair on fire. I was going nuts in the house. Hat and Boobs looked at me like I was crazy because I was like, "Yeah, go get him, Hutch!" And it was, Hutch came out, played lights out in the first half. Played lights out all game. I mean, his tank was clearly running empty there towards the end, but Hutch chipping in 3 of those 5 sacks. We talked about it in the Monday reaction video, but dude, that's super elite company. You're joining the ranks of Julius Peppers, who is one of the greatest pass rushers in his prime in the history of the league. Even past his prime, he was still better than a lot of these guys in their prime. Dude, so Hutch came out, played great, and that performance, that 3-sack performance, I don't want to hear anybody ever again coming at me with the old, you gotta take Kyle Hamilton at 2. You gotta have an elite safety in this league, so you gotta draft Kyle Hamilton at 2. He's big and he's physical. You gotta do it. And if you're not gonna take Kyle Hamilton at 2, you have to take Malik Willis. You absolutely must take Malik Willis out of Liberty. Well, you guys can have your Kyle Hamiltons and your Malik Willises. I'm going to take my 3-sack performance in week 2 out of my second overall pick, the overhyped Aiden Hutchinson. This is such a deep pass rushing class. This pass rushing class is so deep, you don't need to worry about taking Hutch at 2. Take Kyle Hamilton. Take Malik Willis. Anybody but Aiden Hutchinson. Yeah, well, 3 sacks, dude. 3 sacks. Over half of our team sacks came out of our second overall pick, our rookie, in the first half. I'm going to take that. I'm going to take it to the bank. I'm going to cash that check every single time for the next 12 years. Kyle Hamilton, Malik Willis. I don't want to hear any more of that taking them at number 2 crap anymore after 3-sack performance, Aiden Hutchinson. And also 5 tackles. And then we had the one big takeaway. This one takeaway is pretty common. I'm only going to shine a little light on this because we were a little banged up across the whole team. Most notably in our secondary, Amani Aruarie, I just call him Amani 2-4. He was out, so there was a big damn it, dude. No, not Will Harris. Shit, it's Will Harris. Oh, God, we started Will Harris in place of Amani. Oh, man. We're going to get torched. Oh, no, not Will Harris. And then Wentz winds up, and he chucks it deep right at Will Harris. And we're all going, shit, he's throwing it right at Will Harris. Oh, shit, Will Harris with the INT! Hey, Will Harris, my man, Will Harris. I know Will Harris. Will Harris, I have been so harsh on you. And I will continue it. I will continue to be harsh on you, Will Harris, until you're no longer in the league, because I have planted my flag on you kind of suck. But, look, I'm a big enough man to admit it. Will Harris, dude, you were tied for second in the team in tackles. There was a whole litany of you guys. We'll get into the individual performances here in a second. But Will Harris was tied for the team lead in tackles with 5, and he came up with a massive INT. Every INT, every takeaway is massive, but this INT, I think, it just deflated Carson Wiener Wentz so hard, man. He just when they cut back to him, he was like laughing, because if he wasn't laughing, he'd probably start crying. And then you could put him and Sam Darnold in the complete bust category, because I think this is Carson Wentz's last team, fellas. Unless he somehow takes the commies to the promised land, which I don't see that happening. I would imagine Carson Wentz is getting cut at the end of the year. And I feel bad for him, because I actually really like Ron Rivera. He seems like a stand-up cat. And his cancer treatment might buy him an extra year. But I wouldn't be surprised if Riverboat Ron Rivera ended up being fired at the end of the year. Because, dude, the commies... And honestly, Ron Rivera, dude, you could probably get a job elsewhere, even if you got to take a coordinator job for a year. But, like, who wants to deal with that just, like... dumpster fire of a franchise, man? Like, who I guess somebody, I mean, somebody is going to take the job, because someone wants to be a head coach. It's going to be Mike Flores. It's going to be Brian Flores. I'm sorry, not Mike Flores. Brian Flores. It's going to be Brian Flores. It's going to end up being Brian Flores. Brian Flores. Marking down right now, fellas. I'm saying Brian Flores is going to go and get the Washington Commies head coaching job when Ron Rivera gets fired. I feel bad for Riverboat Ron. I liked him even when he was the DC in Chicago. I really rooted for him hard in Carolina, and it's rough to see, because he seems, like I said, he seems like a stand-up cat. But man, you really don't want to. That's just a bummer. But anyway, back to the Lions. This isn't a Washington Commies Riverboat Ron Rivera gushing channel. We're here to talk about the Lions. Let's talk about the Lions. Come on, Hat, get it together. Come on now. We're just going to run down it. If you guys are still sticking around at this point of the channel, I figure you're probably some game nerds. So let's go ahead and let's talk about... let's count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We had 6 players. 6 players tied for the lead in tackles with 5. Now, a few of these guys, you guys know me. I've expressed it in numerous videos. I don't like our DBs leading the team in tackles. So the fact that of those 6, 1, 2... 3 and 4. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Okay. So of the 6 leading tackles, 4 of them are DBs, including Jeff Okudah, who continues to play pretty dang good. Pretty good. But Mike Hughes, 5 tackles, no INTs. Will Harris, 5 tackles. That big INT that I just gushed about for a little bit. Will Harris really making the best of his opportunities, really just like seizing the moment. Will Harris, just a tip of the hat, my man, dude. Tip of the hat, Will Harris. Just seriously, bro. Bravo. Like, good on you, Will Harris. Rodrigo had 5 strong tackles. Man, Malcolm Rodriguez, like 5 tackles. He was that close. If it wasn't for his stubby little Malcolm Rodriguez legs, he would have had himself an INT. Rodrigo has been just this, man, amazing gem that Brad Holmes... I mean, does Brad Holmes go to the draft with like a miner's hat on and some boots and a pick? Because he just goes to work and just digs and finds these guys, man. Like, we were all going to be super happy if Rodrigo contributed as like a positional, rotational player on defense and then was out on special teams. He comes in, and not only does he win a starting job, but he's out there lighting the league on fire. I mean, last week he had that beautiful hip check on Jason Kelce. This week he came up he probably felt the laces hit his fingertips as the ball zinged past him. But man, Malcolm Rodriguez, lights out, 5 beautiful tackles. The other non-DB tackle leader was another rookie, Aiden Hutchinson. Well, when you have 5 tackle or 3 sacks, 5 tackles is to be expected, dude, because you're clearly having your way with the offensive line. So Hutch, another 5 tackle guy. 3 of them were sacks. That's awesome to hear, man. And then I said Jeff Okudah had 5 tackles, and I think Jeff Okudah only let up like 3 catches. Jeff Okudah, through the first 2 weeks of the league, Jeff Okudah has been just absolutely chef's kiss. Just absolutely couldn't ask for more out of Jeff Okudah, man. I'm genuinely so happy with his performance. I'm so, like, I know this sounds weird, but I'm like legit proud of Jeff Okudah for stepping up, man. Like, cause he was on bust alley. He was just like riding that wave right down to the bum beach, dude. And something, I think it's Aubrey Pleasant, our DB's coach. I think Aubrey Pleasant, and in conjunction with Aaron Glenn, who's a, you know, he played corner in the league, so he understands. This is part of what I think the coaching staff is able to do when you have these players that maybe are struggling, like a Jeff Okuda, you know? They're able to maximize the most out of these players because they're former players, because they know what they're going through, because they can communicate to them on a different level than, say, the notebook, you know, dorks, the dork coaches. But anyway, Jeff Okuda played great, and then what I loved was Deshaun Elliott made 5 tackles. Deshaun Elliott didn't have any INTs, but if you watch the tape, there's at least 3 hits where even in today's NFL, we're going, whoa, damn, yo, he laid a lick on him, holy shit. And every time it was Deshaun Elliott. So, like, I love a big, mean enforcer safety who can go out there and just lay the lumber down on dudes and just lay a thump on them, dude. And he was out there just thumping cats, and I absolutely love it, dude. But 5 tackles, no INTs, and a bunch of big old hits, I'll take it, because on the other side of the safety role, you know, you had your Deshaun Elliott laying licks on dudes, and Tracy Walker's not going to jump out at you in the stat line. Most important stats, Tracy Walker didn't get kicked out of the game. But Tracy Walker's stats didn't jump out at you. But when you watch the game, Tracy Walker was out there being a contributor as far as like helping to make plays, and then they don't put the stats on the almost interceptions that he had, the almost big tackle that he missed, but then someone else cleaned up with. But I just wanted to briefly touch on Tracy Walker because last game he was playing super well until he let the emotions get the better of him, and then he got kicked out, and that's a bummer, man. But Tracy Walker, you know, I had said in my previous video about our preview video for the commies was, you know, Tracy Walker's going to have to really step up and make big plays to make up for getting kicked out of the game last week, because I genuinely think that if Tracy Walker had been in on that third down conversion instead of Juju Hughes, I think Tracy Walker would have been able to slam on the brakes. But, you know, ifs and buts is candies and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. There's, you know, not much you can do about it. And just like in my offensive video, I want to give 2 big shout-outs to some role players, some guys that stepped up and took advantage of a situation, contributed, gave it their all, and although their numbers aren't going to jump out on the stat line, they jump out on the tape. We talked too much about Will Harris for me to really do another round of praise for Will Harris. So you guys know Will Harris stepped up, but the two big plays that just really helped elevate our defense. And if you see them out on the street, give them a pat on the back and really tell them how much you appreciate what they do for your local Detroit Lions. But that's your friendly neighborhood John Kaminsky and Isaiah Buggs, dude. John Kaminsky, who knew John Kaminsky was going to be able to come in and not only be such a impactful player, but who knew he had this type of talent? Like, who knew he had this level of skill? I mean, John Kaminsky, I was rooting for him all preseason. I was really hyped when he made the 53-man roster that we didn't waive him and send him to the practice squad. I had kind of penciled him in for a rotational player, and he probably wouldn't have been getting so much run had Austin Bryant not been out. We've seen a little bit of peppering of Julian Okwara. That's good to see him getting some run in there, breaking the rust loose, because he, you know, missed the majority of training camp. But John Kaminsky played lights out, and then the most unglorified position in the NFL, and that is a run-stopping defensive tackle. Don't get pressure, fill your gaps, keep your man off your linebacker. Isaiah Buggs, dude, Isaiah Buggs, you came in, yeah, it was, you know, he was in rotation with Aleem McNeil and Michael Brockers to kind of give everybody a breather. You know, I've stated numerous times, and I'll continue to state all season long, that we don't have a strong interior defensive line presence. That, again, I think Aleem McNeil will be that dude, but you need a complementary defensive tackle. And so we're doing a lot of rotation, a lot of, as I said before, a lot of chessboard defense, where Aaron Glenn's going to be moving players around and putting different pieces out on the field as he deems necessary for that role. Not necessarily packages, but individual player personnel groups. And Isaiah Buggs stepped up when he was called upon. He delivered. He did great. So in your travels this week, guys, if you see your local, you know, neighborhood John Kaminsky or your friendly neighborhood Isaiah Buggs, give him a pat on the back. Buy him a Yoo-Hoo soda. I don't know, man. Tell him, hey, give him an old attaboy from Hat and Beard. Give him the old, hey, attaboy. That's going to do it for today's video, you guys. I really appreciate you hanging out and listening to this nonsense while I just continue to ramble on. I know my production quality is kind of low, and we're trying to work on it. There's been some struggles and some setbacks, but hey, guys, we're still here. You're still here. I'm still here. It's awesome. Let's grow this thing together. Go ahead and hit like and subscribe on your way out the door. As you guys already know, I'm Hat and Beard. You've been an attentive audience. Thanks for hanging out so much, guys. Have a wonderful rest of the day. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.
1.21 shekels.